Um, Good evening, everyone. Since we're running out of time, I propose we start off. Yeah, and the rest will join us. We are moving on. I'd like to welcome you all to this event. It's the first of the training sessions we shall have, and this one here is going to be mostly an informatic about our devices, our offers, and then the next one we shall see, we shall start covering other things. We made this one here an informatic because there is a lot of questions that people have about the devices that they received. And I would like to answer a couple of them today. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Before we start, I would like to invite Teacher Wilbrod to lead us in a short prayer.
Okay, let's pray. Great and lovely God, we want to thank you because you're holy. There is none like you. You knew that in such a day we would have this meeting, Lord. How we pray for your guidance, that your spirit may rest in our bosom, may rest in our hearts, and for the purpose of what we are going to discuss, Lord, let it be of value and valor for our stay and even the school. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Teacher Wilbert. Yeah, without further ado, let's start off. Yeah, so yeah, thank you for joining today. Just a quick one. The devices thing, the devices plan is called Own and Pay Over Time. That's what we're calling it. And so our current offerings. We have a couple of offerings. The first one is the Celeron Duo Core. And with that, there is the Lenovo V14 Celeron. There is the HP 250 G7 Celeron. Those are the two Celeron dual cores. I'm going to go into what these mean in a bit, but for now you can see that. Then we have i3s, and these include HP 250 G7, and then the Dell Vostro i3, which is one of the more common ones, the more common options here. i5s, we also have the HP 250 G8. Sorry, this is supposed to be i5, and that was a mistake. Sorry about that. And then we also have the Dell Vostro i5. Okay, so then we also have i7s. These ones haven't yet been bought by anyone, but in case at some point you want to upgrade, we have the Dell Vostro i7 and then the HP G8 i7. And I also want to tell you that if you have a certain device that you would prefer, we are open to looking around for it and getting it for you, and then quoting for you the price. Yeah. So let me go very quickly into what these mean. A Celeron i3, i5, i7. I have before tried to explain it to people, but I think my explanation was a bit off. And I think I have gotten a much simpler explanation now that should be easy to follow. So the way devices are made, they're made in different price ranges. And the different price ranges kind of have different, functionalities. I don't know if you also know, if you've seen phones, you'll see phones that are the entry level, the very cheap smartphones, and then there's the mid tier, then there's the high tier, and then there's the ones they call flagships. Yeah. So these ones have different what? They all have different functionalities. And so Celeron is the cheapest. All these things are made by Intel. Intel is a company that makes processors. And a processor is the bit of a computer that does the computations. Things like if if you give it if you tell it that open for me a Word document, it's kind of the thing that does those computations. What does it mean that to open a Word document? And a processor has cores, and these cores are you think of them as the brain of the computer. So you'll find that in these different tiers of devices, the Celeron, the i3, the i5, the i7, they have different numbers of cores. You'll find the lower ones are normally dual core. The Celeron, you'll find that it is a dual core device. That means it has two cores. Then i3s, the newer ones, the newer i3s, the ones that we have up to 4 cores. They're what you call quad cores. And then the i5s, yeah, they range from quad core to 8 core, octa core. And then the i7s have up to 16 and above. So technically the number of cores means that the computer has more brains, and so it can compute, it can do more things. Yeah. So the Celeron is the cheapest of these processors that are made by Intel. Then the i3 is a lower priced processor. And because, as I mentioned, these things here, because of the price, they have different functionalities. As the price increases, the functionalities also increase. And then the i5s are the mid priced processors, and i7s are the high end, ones. Then even now there's i9s, which are like the super grade computers. They're really expensive, but they're really good. That's a bit about the different things, what they mean. If you have questions, you can post them in the chat, and then I'll answer them as we go. Otherwise, we can wait until I'm done with this, then you can ask them. Yeah. So let's continue. Yeah, so this is just about the devices that we currently have. The V14 looks like this. And out of the box, this is what it comes with: 4 GB RAM and 1 TB HDD. Then it's 14-inch. I'm going to explain what HDD is. I unfortunately didn't add a slide for it, but let's just finish this and then I'll explain. Then the HP G7 Celeron. Sorry for the image; it's a bit blurry. Yeah, but this is yeah. This is what it comes with also. It comes with 4 GB RAM, 1 TB HDD, and the difference is that it has a 14-inch or 15.6 inch screen. Yeah. Then the Dell Vostros. The Dell Vostros, we have the i3, i5, and i7s, as I mentioned. And then I think that's repeated. Okay. All right. So let's go very quickly through the different processors and their features. So I had shown before the Celerons. I showed the Lenovo Celeron. It has the Lenovo and the HP Celerons, that they have 4 GB RAM and 1 TB HDD hard disk space out of the box. For the i3s, they have 8 GB RAM. They come with 8 GB RAM. You can already see that that's an upgrade. Then they have 1 TB HDD out of the box. And then we thought to ourselves that if we paired 8 GB RAM with 1 TB HDD, the laptop will be much faster, but it will not. The users will still run into issues with functionality as time goes on. So we decided, let's add 256 GB SSD. And this is for performance. So it's factored in the cost of the device out of the as it's factored in. Yeah. And we have 15.6 and 14-inch variants. 15.6-inch, that's the screen size basically. Then i5s, they come with 512 GB SSD out of the box. So you can see the difference. This one here comes with 512 GB SSD out of the box, while the other ones come with 1 TB HDD. So you can see there's a difference. There's this one SSD, and then the other ones there's HDD. Then there's a 14-inch and then the 15.6 options. 15.6 options for the i5. Mostly if you're getting the HB G8, sorry, you'll find that it has a backlit keyboard. Yeah. And then they have also 8 GB RAM. Yeah, so a quick one about this, storage and RAM can be increased. So I said I was going to explain about the difference between SSD and HDD. So HDD is an older storage, it's an older storage technology. And what it does is, I don't know if you guys remember discs, those discs, you remember those DVDs. The way that they store information on them is, they keep spinning while, things are being written on them. So an HDD is kind of like that. As information is being stored, it's like, it has to spin, and then information is stored on it. And because of that, there are a couple of things. First of all, the information on it is kind of much harder to retrieve. So you find that even, you remember those discs, when you are trying to copy something, it takes a long time to copy them. And then when you're trying to retrieve things, that also happens. And because of that, people developed a newer way of storing things, which is SSD. SSD means solid state drives. And these ones here, they stack information in a different way. And they make it much easier to retrieve information. So it's a newer technology. And because of that, the price is more expensive. So I'll give you an example that I brought to David, teacher David. If you have an SSD drive that is 1 terabyte, the price of it is 170,000. So if you wanted to increase, if you wanted to put 1 terabyte, a whole one terabyte is equal to 1,000 GBs of storage, right? The price for that is only 170,000. But then, if you're having the same, for the smallest, for not the smallest, for the 256 GB SSD. Yeah, 256 only, 256 GB. That's almost around 4 times less than the 1 TB HDD. The price for that is a little over 170,000. So you can see the difference. One of them has way more storage, but you know, at 170,000, while this other one has 4 times less storage, but it's more expensive. So that's why you find devices that have SSD out of the box are more expensive. Yeah. So as I mentioned, the storage and the RAM can be increased. There have been questions from people that how comes there's some laptops that don't that have more storage than others, and as I mentioned, the i3s come out of the box with 1 terabyte HDD, but then we say let's add some SSD storage, 256 GB, and that's how it came. The i5s by default have 512 GB SSD, which is more expensive. 512 GB SSD on the street, you'll find it upwards of 370,000. Yeah, but as I mentioned, all these things here can be increased on your laptop if you feel like you have you need more storage. There's very many options that we can discuss, and in another installment of this, maybe next week, we shall talk about that. Yeah, so that's it about storage. Okay, so what do you do when you get your laptop? And I'm sure most of you have gone through this. So the first thing you want to do is connect it to a stable internet connection. Connect your laptop to internet, and you know, I would encourage you not to use the school internet because it seems like it has not been very good. And so if you use the school internet, your laptop may not update. We've had cases of complaints about there being no sound on laptops that are just new. Maybe the pointer is missing, the mouse pointer is missing, the graphics are not very okay, and all this is because there's the installation of Windows that we have on it is just new, and it needs to first update. So you have to connect it to the internet and leave it. You can be doing other things in the background, and then you, if you have connected it to internet, after a couple of hours, it will update. When you restart your machine, you will find that all these other things have been configured. You have sound, you have the pointer, you have most of all these other driver things sorted. If that doesn't happen, even after you have connected to the internet, maybe you find that something is not working. You can reach out to me, and you'll see on the last slide my contacts, but yeah, even in the WhatsApp group, my contacts are already there. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is I don't know why. Okay, maybe you can't read this. Check if you have the cable, the charging cable. Check also if it can power on. Then another thing you have to check is if it has enough storage. And to check, I don't think I have a way you can do that right now, but all you have to do is you can go to the properties of the laptop, And to do that, you just press the Windows key, then type this PC, then go to the click properties of the PC, and then you'll see the amount of RAM it has, and some information about the PC. You should be able to see that it has a genuine Windows copy. We make sure that that is true. We don't want you to start having those issues of Windows that's not genuine. Ensure that it has also Office. I've had a case where there was a person who said they didn't have Office. And when you click the Windows key on your laptop, I think it's one of the things that you will see on the menu somewhere. You'll see MS Office. You have to first sign in. You have to, as I mentioned, connect to internet. When you connect to internet, you can create an account, and we'll go through this the next time because it's kind of important to do with your data, to make sure that you have your data backed up online and you can access it anywhere. You can access it on your phone, you can access it on another device. Yeah. So that's it. Sorry about that. Okay, so for starters, yeah, I made this short so that we can take more of your questions. Yeah, so otherwise, please, if there's any other query, if there's any other issues, please reach out. Those are my numbers. And otherwise, yeah, I'm opening this up to questions from everyone. Thank you. Yes, Fabian.
Okay. Good evening, Gerard, and everybody that is here.
Good evening.
I have one issue. I don't know if it is the internet, as you said, maybe it was about updating. But the laptop that I'm using, when you download Excel, because today I've been using Excel, I wanted to use Excel, but it was very slow. I downloaded, then it was there saying it is no longer responding, it's not responding. Then later on, I closed it. After closing, I downloaded another one. It was the same thing. It was just a matter of copying. I just wanted to copy names of children from the Excel and then separate streams, but it failed until I did it manually. Up to now, when you try to open Excel, still says it's not responding. And yes, then another thing, when you're trying to, maybe there is a document, and if you have typed there is a document and then there is something you want to copy, maybe from this document to another, it is really slow. You can drag the thing and it's not going. So I don't know if it's the issues with the laptop, the type of the laptop, or I don't know exactly. So I wanted even to ask even last time, but good enough you brought it here.
Okay, thank you for that. Are there any other questions? Before I take that of Fabian. All right, so let me take Fabian's. Yeah, so you're having issues with Excel. What I'll do is, since we'll meet on Saturday, I'll check it out. But I can just already see a couple of things that could be causing it. One of them is yes, maybe there is a pending update. So I propose that you click the Windows button, then you just type update, and then you'll see Windows Update as one of the results. Click it, and then try to check for an update. If there is any, you click update. And that should kind of fix if there's some issues with the laptop itself. The other one that could be happening is maybe there's some other things, there's some other background programs that are running that are taking, the RAM, since it's for the Lenovo V14, it has only 4 GB RAM. So it being shared with other, other programs, that could also be one of the reasons why it's kind of slow. Yeah, so what we'll do is, as I mentioned, you try to update it, but I'll be with you on Saturday so we can look at that. Is that okay?
Okay, Gerard.
Yeah. All right. Are there any other questions? Yes, I see. Wilbert has a question. Yes, Wilbert.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Mine is a concern about the payment scheme. And probably before I may go there, I've dealt with very many computers, but I've realized that what Teacher Fabian is talking about is just the speed of the laptop, of which for this case, the RAM 4 GB, whereby they use the one that can be used is 3 point something. That looks to be a little small. I don't know what happens if it would like to be, if would love it to be upgraded, like from CPU to GPU. And then on the payment scheme, I'm asking what happens to Wilbrod, who pays as agreed and later on thinks of just getting like a month and then clears everything. What discount is there for him? Thank you as of now.
All right. Thank you for those, Wilbert. And I think for the second one, I'll answer it a bit, and I'll also invite Moses to just add to it. So for the first thing that you mentioned, the one of RAM, yes, it's definitely one of the concerns that could be. So the speed of a laptop is majorly it's majorly affected by two things. One of them is the RAM, and the other one is the ROM, the storage, the storage type, the media type. So for RAM, of course, if you have more RAM, then your computer is going to be faster. And if you have even newer RAM, your computer will be faster. So if you compare 4 GB RAM to 8 GB, definitely the 4 GB will be much slower than 8. Then there is also types of RAM, but right now all the computers we're using are DDR4, DDR5 is not yet out. It came out recently, but it's not yet out for consumers. And it's much more expensive. So it's DDR4 now. So that's not an issue. Then for the ROM, as I explained before, there is SSD and then there's HDD. HDD is inherently much slower because of the way that files are written on it. So it's much harder to store files to it and then retrieve files from it. But the way the SSDs are made, they are made for a couple of those things. The way that files are stored is kind of much more logical. So retrieving and storing files there is much faster. So you'll find that a computer that has SSD is going to typically be, you know, a number of times faster than an HDD. Yeah, but as I mentioned, these things can be, you know, can be increased. It's possible to increase RAM. It's possible to increase, to change storage. There's one implication though for changing storage, and that is if you're changing storage, if you're adding SSD to your HDD, you will have to back up your files before, because Windows has to be installed on the SSD drive. So when that is happening, they'll wipe your machine. Yeah. Then you had mentioned something about CPU and GPU. CPU is basically a part of a computer, and it's basically, you know, where the processors are stored. It's a hardware bit. GPU is like part of CPU. It's like the processor that has things to do with graphics. So it's like a graphics card. It uses like GPU. It's also a hardware part. They're kind of different. Yes, they can be changed separately. But typically what you want to do is upgrade the RAM and the storage. Then your second question about the payments was that if you chose a 12-month period and then sometime you get all the money and you want to pay it at once, what does that mean? It hasn't yet come up, and I think as a team, we have to get a stand on that. But ideally, we would have to recalculate everything so that we can see how much you can pay, how much has already been paid, and then how much you can pay. Yeah. I invite Moses to add to that if there is anything that I've missed. That.
Yeah, thank you, Gerard. I think you've answered it very well. So if you had an arrangement for 1 year and you are blessed and you make the payment within 3 months, we'll have to recalculate and you fit within a new band. So you need to just inform us that I have made this arrangement, and then we'll have to recalculate. So the answer, Wilbrod, is that it is possible, but you need to inform us and we do the recalculation. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Wilbur, do you have another question? I see your hand is up.
Thank you very much for your response. I don't know whether I've understood it clearly, because I was asking for the discount if at all it can be given, and maybe as the person who is going to respond on that may also help me to put this clearly, that having looked at and interacted with this machine, you realize that the space, the storage, and the speed is not all that you would wish to have it. What happens if this person, let's say Wilbrod, comes up and says that maybe probably would like to upgrade in a physical machine? Is there a possibility of bringing this one back and probably getting the one that would probably have a larger space than this? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Wilbur. That's a very nice question. So the concern about the discount, you'll find that the different payment times have different rates that are attached to them. So typically, if you're paying for a longer time, you're going to pay more money than someone who's paying for a shorter time. If you paid for a device at once, you'll pay a few hundred thousands less than someone who paid, say, for a year. And this is because, you know, of a lot of factors that go into that longer period of time. Yeah, so definitely, if you say that you are going to pay for a year, and then you end up paying for in a shorter time, you will find that, yeah, there's a bit of a discount. Then your question of, can you upgrade your laptop? It's something we have talked about, but we haven't. It's a case that hasn't come out, so we haven't had a chance to actually work out the modalities of it. So I would say for now, it's something that we want to do. We want to give you people an option of always upgrading your device, maybe yearly. You can say that, you know how phones come out every year, there's a newer model of a phone with better features. We want to see if that option is possible even for devices. And maybe you side with, you know, an Intel Celeron, and then maybe next time you want like an i5. Definitely, we'll work out the modalities of what that means, and what, you know, and revert to you on that. We have not yet. Yeah, thank you. Moses, what do you think about that? Do you want to add something to that?
I think it's an interesting scenario, and I want to thank Wilbrod and the team for bringing up that. So we are going to put that in our FQA, so that we have an answer to the team. So thank you, Wilbrod, and we are going to definitely respond to that, because it is a concern and it's going to come from more people. Yeah.
All right. Teacher Jane, I see that you're asking for us to share the recording. We shall do that. Let's just note that. Yeah, we shall do that just after the call. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you, Jared. And thank you, Mr. Wilbrod. It was the same question that I was going to bring. When we were registering to get the gadgets, there was an information that was passing, and we're told that when gadgets come, we are going to get a certain discount, that there is going to be a subsidy from the school because we got it from the section supervisor. By then, later on, when I came and picked the gadget, so I went and when I picked the gadget, looking at the payment schedule and the money that we are supposed to pay, it looked to be very high. That is the truth. So when I went to the head teacher, I talked to him, Mr. Tachiramde, and asked him if we are going to have a subsidy, a discount on the whatever on the gadgets that we have received, and he said it was not yet confirmed, and as if, according to him, as if it was a rumor, as if it was, so it was not very clear, and he just said, good enough, you're just investing in yourself. So let us wait and see. If it is there, it will come. If not, then you'll have to pay. So when Wilbrod brought it, I remembered that we got such information, but it was not confirmed. So I wanted to get it very clear from here, since we did not get it from the head teacher himself. Thank you, Gerard.
Right. I invite Moses to answer that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Fabian. Actually, Fabian, we do not have an answer for that. What I know, if any discount is to come from the school. So I think, as Mr. Tachiramde mentioned to you, I think it was something that was said, but I think never materialized. So it is something we cannot commit ourselves to as GSVL, but when it comes and they've said you're going to have this, definitely we shall offset it off your payment schedule. So for us, we have no problem the moment we get guidance. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chirinya.
Okay. Michael, Teacher Michael, please shoot.
Thank you, the host and the co-host. I don't know whether can you hear me?
We can't hear you very clearly. Is it possible for you to move closer to the microphone?
Okay, how about here? Can you hear?
It's just a bit better.
I think I have a problem with network, but I don't know whether I'm going through. But my question, I have two. One is it possible for someone to have like a top background for a target like this? When I'm still starting this one, is it possible for me to have another gadget? Or must I have one finished starting this one, then I can get another one? Then another one is, can we upgrade apart from laptop? Can we also access like other gadgets like a projector? In case I want to have a projector so that I have a full set, like this is investing. So you may go somewhere and you need to a projector where you can access window projector. Therefore, you're having a projector on or not yet thought about. Those are the questions I want to see. Thank you.
All right. Just to repeat your, is that all? Is there another question?
Not really. I only have.
Okay. So basically, just to reiterate your question, you are asking, number one, whether you can get another gadget, even as you're paying for this one. And then the second one is whether you can get something else, another type of device, not laptop, e.g. a projector. So we are currently not doing other devices, but we are open to them because, you know, all we are doing is we have suppliers who we're working with, and we can advise you on how much it would, you know, take to say get a certain projector. It's definitely something we can do. And what you can do on your side is, maybe I forgot to do this. There's a form that we're using now to collect this data. If someone is interested in a gadget, you can actually go to our website, gsvirtuallearning.com, then you do /devices. I will just write it in the chat. GS Virtual Learning, and it has links. This website, this page here has links where you can go and fill in if you want another device. So on the form you'll find, apart from like the laptops that we are offering, there is a certain option which has other. So in the other option, you can put maybe a projector. If you have a certain type of projector in mind, you can put it and then you can see. If you can't, otherwise, from there we shall go and look and see the options that we can get, and then we shall revert to you on that, and we shall advise on you know, the amount of money you have to pay. Then you had a question about your first question was whether you can get another gadget already. And I'll invite Moses' input, but ideally it's possible because all we're going to do is just we'll just cut a bigger chunk of your salary. So ideally it should be possible, but yeah, let me invite Moses. Moses' input on these two questions.
Yeah, thank you, Gerard. What I want to say, as Gerard has said, it is possible. However, I want to mention that there is a deductions policy in the school which needs to be followed, because I know there is a percentage by which you're not supposed to go beyond your deductions, maybe 50%. So as you ask for another gadget, you must have checked with finance to see whether you're still within the rate of deductions. Because if it's beyond 50%, then you will not get approval from the finance department. So it is possible on our side, provided you are in the bracket for the deductions. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Then there are questions from Teacher Jen asking whether the opportunity is still available for people to get laptops. Yes, it is. I have posted the link, gsvirtuallearning.com/devices. They can go there and then fill in the form. There's some links they can click and then they can fill in the form, choose the device that they want, and then we shall reach out to them and give them, you know, more information. We shall give them the form they have to fill for the agreement. Yeah. So who should they approach, or what is the process? As I mentioned, go to gsvirtuallearning.com/devices and then fill in that form, and then we shall reach out to you. That's pretty much the process. I hope I've answered your questions, Teacher Jane.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions?
It is 7 p.m. Gerard.
Okay. The time is up. We shall be having another of these. I'll share the schedule, but tentatively it will be next week. And during that time, we shall now dive into actual, content of how you can do a few things with your laptop. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for the engagement. It was very good. And I encourage you to tell everyone who has gotten a device next week, they can join us. That would be great. Yeah. I would like to close this with us saying the grace. May the grace
May the grace of our Lord Jesus
Lord
Christ,
Jesus Christ,
the love
And
of
the
God,
and the love of God, and the
and the
fellowship of the
fellowship
Holy
of the Holy
Spirit
Spirit
Holy Spirit
be with us all
be with us all, now and
and
forevermore.
forevermore. Amen.
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 Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
and great marking tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. See you next Thursday.
Okay.
All right.